Good morning, everyone, and welcome to this week's edition of Contractors Chatter. I'm Luciana Turner. I am your host. Uh, you know, First want to apologize. I didn't go live last week, but I kind of injured my shoulder. Wasn't in the mood to go live. Pain is not a good motivator, but I'm back this week, and today's live is going to be short, but I'm laying attention actually for the rest of the month. Because what I want to talk about, and if you've been a follower of mine for any length of time, you will know that I always say that the contracting conversation as it's being held is not really a complete one. Oftentimes, we hear a whole lot about finding the RFP, writing and drafting the proposal, and things of that nature. And all of those things are fine and they have their place and they are beneficial to the audience. However, they are not complete. A complete conversation would include the fact that every step in government contracting is subject and will be audited. Your proposals are subject to audit. Your proposal process is subject to audit. Your rates are subject to audit. Everything you do, your policies and procedures are subject to audit. The way you administer your health and welfare benefits are subject to audit. The way you say certain people do things and don't do things. Even people in the industry who think they can 1099 their entire workforce and it's okay is subject to audit. Those who want to hire VAs who are not US based and think it's okay, that is subject to audit. And if you look at your RFPs, there's actually specific language in there that address the use of non-US labor. And that goes back to legislation, which is one of the things we discuss on the chatter, our legislation around government contracting that a lot of contractors are not aware of. So what happens is people often stumble into government contracting. They go to an event, SBA holds them, various agency holds them. They stumble across a government contracting specialist guru and decide they want to be a contractor. They bid on a contract and they so happen to win one. And then they call themselves a government contractor and they go forth and they conquer the world. The auditor then shows up and slams them with a noncompliance of some sort that they cannot figure out how to get out of, or they want to say they don't know. And what I'm telling you is if you start off as a compliant contractor now, if you put the processes in place now, if you develop a compliant base now, not only will you not have to worry about it later and spend thousands of dollars to correct yourself down the road, and that correction will lead to having to amend an already in place system, retrain a staff that's already doing it wrong, and then you have to redirect your whole mindset of your team and your mindset, because once you've been doing it wrong, you think it's right and you don't want to change. You can start off in the right path. Retain the dollars that you have worked hard for, because the government, when they penalize you hard. They love to add penalties and interest on. And nobody likes to give money back, and the government will ask for their money back, plus those penalties and interest. And that is what chatter is for. Chatter is to give you that upscaled conversation. And you know what? I'm going to change that from upscale to in-depth conversation around government contracting so that you will not be in the place where you are refunding the government for your lack of knowledge. Because guess what? The government doesn't care that you didn't know. I'm going to say it again. The government doesn't care that you didn't know. They don't want to hear, I wasn't aware. And do you really want to tell the largest client in the world that you didn't take time to learn the rules of engagement? So, the intentions for the rest of the month and going through March is we're going to talk about some of the different audits and some of the different acts and rules and regulations in place to govern government contractors and the actions that they're taking. I am also going to introduce you to my upcoming group training before the RFP, contractor readiness. Now, this is a cohort that I will be hosting quarterly. We will go through contractor readiness. We will go through tracking the engagement. We will go through understanding the requirements. Those are all the things we will go through in this 3-month cohort that I will be hosting starting in April. Enrollment is available now. If you're interested, the information is at www.beforerfp.com. You can enroll, you can go there, you can find out information if you're interested in the program. I would encourage you, and I'm going to jump out here and say this. Government contracting is something that you will constantly find yourself having to educate yourself on. The landscape changes from time to time. Legislation changes from time to time. It is not a one and done, hit it or quit it, something that is just learned by osmosis. As a business owner, you should be aware, and you should have a fully trained team of advisors and a fully trained staff. And education and knowledge is the key to proper foundation, scaling, and growth in government contracting. So I implore you, at a bare minimum, log on in the morning, 7:30 a.m. when I go live. I restream at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on my Facebook, YouTube, and on my Facebook and YouTube channels. I don't restream to my Instagram, but I do restream to those two places. The morning broadcast. Now, I go live in the morning because I'm an early riser. That is something I learned when I was actively in the industry, and I'm an active government contractor anyway. So, and I do know that a lot of the contractors do early morning bid meetings. They do early morning meetings. So if you're one of these people that don't like to have meetings before 10 o'clock, you might need to do a mindset shift. I'm not saying it's impossible, but you do find, especially if you're dealing within DOD, that they love to have morning meetings. And you do find on the Hill, it's easier to get a breakfast meeting than it is to get a midday meeting. And that's because of all the hearings. So that's just a little tidbit to learn who you're working with and what works best for them. What works best for you isn't always the case and isn't how you should always operate. But that's something we'll discuss further down the road. So I just wanted to lay the intentions for the next 30 days because we're going to really deep dive into 30 days of compliance as a part of the chatter conversation. So have a great morning. I will see you. And you know what? And for the next 30 days, I'm going to go live every day. So for the next 30 days straight, Contractors Chatter will be live every morning at 7:30 a.m. to bring you the information that you need so that you can become a powerful contractor. And with that, have an amazing day, and I will see you tomorrow morning at 7:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time.